What happens is that a lot of times, especially in successful organizations that I see, is that when we're successful with something, we get very focused, our vision closes, and our perception is narrow. Why? Because we've got success from that one thing, and we think that everything has to be just like that again. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to another episode of your daily seed of leadership. We like to call them, go ahead, say it with me, D-So. If you've listening to these for some time, if you've been joining us every single day, committed to your leadership growth, you know exactly what that means, right? D-So for your leadership growth stands for DSOL, Daily Seed of Leadership, right here on your Leader Seeds podcast. It's me, Paul Keller. Let's jump right into today's topic. I'm sharing with you how I answer a question. And the question is basically, how do great leaders end a year strong, right? How do they end a year strong? I covered the importance of it. I covered the why and all of that. And if you want to really capture that, I want to encourage you, go back to the beginning of it. We're actually sharing, this is a fourth point of today. This is the fourth point, and I got one more coming tomorrow. So you missed the other three. If you didn't listen to it yet, go back and check it out. If you did, you're feeling the momentum. You're seeing why this is important, and you're seeing why if we don't cover something like this, it can be forgotten, right? A lot of people are so excited to talk about the next chapter, so excited for the next year, which I get it. I am too. I used to miss it though. I used to miss this principle about finishing strong because of the overexcitement for the next year, for the next thing, right? We get so excited for the next thing. That's why this principle, this discipline gets overlooked by many people. But the great leaders make sure that they keep this discipline all the way through the end. And that's probably why I'm even more excited to share with you, because for myself, like I said, I missed this in the beginning, and maybe you did too, right? But right now, if you're listening to this, we know that, hey, this isn't a blind spot for us. This is something that we know, we know it's done, and now we can actually go ahead and just implement it. You've seen the title, right? The title is Stocked for Success. Stocked for Success. We're in the Christmas season, and you see some stockings all over the place. Yesterday, I went out with the family and got some stocking stuffers, right? Now, yeah, I know we're playing with the word stock, and it's similar to what we're talking about today. But let me tell you this: there is a low stock that you want to be aware of in your team as a leader. As the leader, you want to be aware of low stock. Yesterday, we talked about how data can be your friend and how you want to have different forms of measuring things in your organization or in your own leadership, right? Maybe your own growth, or maybe you're just leading your family. But you still want to have ways to identify when the stock is low. Today, we're going to talk about how you can be stocked for success. I'm going to give you 2 points, and the first one is energy. A lot of people, when you think of stock, you're thinking of a thing, a product, right? For those of you that run a restaurant or food and beverage, you know what? You have to get more stock. You have to go ahead and order more stock. You can be stocked with that. You can be stocked with items. But what about energy? Energy is like, what about enthusiasm in the team? Is that low? Is the enthusiasm in the team low? Is perspective low, right? These are things you want to really keep a close, you want to keep it on your radar, right? Is creativity low? This is all different forms of energy. There's a creative energy. There's a perspective, which is really kind of opening our mind of vision, right? Making sure we have energy for vision. What happens is that a lot of times, especially in successful organizations that I see, is that when we're successful with something, we get very focused, our vision closes, and our perception is narrow. Why? Because we've got success from that one thing, and we think that everything has to be just like that again. So we want to make sure, especially coming out, maybe you had a successful year, and your perspective needs to make sure that we got our eyes open in this new year, right? We're open to new things. We're not closed-minded. What about enthusiasm? Sometimes people just feel positive, but they're just drained. It's hard to be to have enthusiasm at a certain time, right? We can cover this with songs. We can cover this with maybe Christmas parties. But the truth is, if your team is as enthusiastic as they need to be coming into the new year. Maybe they're going through. The holiday season brings up mixed emotions for a lot of people. So I want you to really think about that. Think about the low stock of energy in your team. For those of you that don't maybe have a team right now or an organization and you're listening to this, we have a lot of you really committed to your personal leadership, and I love that. I want you to think about your personal enthusiasm. How's that stock doing? How's that energy for you? What about your personal perspective? Has that narrowed quite a bit? What about your personal creativity? Right? When we have low stock of creativity, we see less resources because we're not as resourceful. You see, so we start to see everything as there's no option. There's no option, Paul Keller. When somebody comes to me and they're saying, I have no options, this is the only way I have to do this, I know that there needs to be a restock of creativity so we can start to fill that. And as the leader, like I said, if you have an organization, I want you to pay attention and think about that. Where can you start to fill and help them and serve that team? Do they need one-on-one meetings with you? Do they need maybe an outside creative session, right? There's many different ways if you start to see right now, and I can work with you individually if you have something that you're thinking of and you want to process openly, just message me. A lot of you have done that before, and we can sit down and look at your specific situation. But what is low? What is the low energy? I want you to think about that. That's the first point. That's a stock, energy. Think energy when you think restocking for success.
With everything changing so quickly, it can be hard to keep your team growing together. Learning better communication and keeping up with effective strategies can be difficult when you have so much more to do. That's why Po'okela Chief Development and Leadership Strategies are here to support you in your training and development goals. Who do you know that is looking to improve your staff meetings, engage one-on-one communication, scale your organization to the next level, or bring in a dynamic speaker for your next event? Now back to the show.
Now, once you do that, once you really identify that and you're filling that well, the next part is equipped. You want to equip them. You want to make sure that they're set up for success. What happens here is that we've identified this. We've identified this part when we were working with very enthusiastic, maybe visionary leaders that can cast a powerful, compelling vision, and the team gets excited and they're ready to go, and they get into the office and they get at their desk and they realize that I don't even have staples. Who has Post-its? You have Post-its? Do you have a pen? I don't even have a pen. And though this might seem not your job, a lot of leaders, when I bring this to their attention, the thing is, hey, that's not my job. I have to lead with vision. This is the thing. It might not be for you to do, but it is for you to lead. As the leader, you don't have to do all of these things, but you do have to lead them. You do have to think, who can help me with this? And this is where it comes into play. A lot of people might think they devalue this, right? Come on, Paul Keller. Post-its, staples, really? Absolutely. Can you imagine doing a great job presenting and the team is ready to move forward and you got 2023 coming up for, and you're just, the energy is there. You have filled the well with the energy. And now guess what now? They're ready to execute and they feel like they're set up to fail. Because it's like, I can't even. Now, this is a tough one because some leaders will push back with me and say, well, the team has to go. They have a company credit card and they have to go and get that on their own. Sure, we can argue that all day long. That's a valid point. But does that still stock them for success? I'm talking about right now in this moment when you're looking at things, especially coming in with the new year. You want to compel vision. You want to fill that well with energy, the energy well, but you also want to fill the part to equip them. You see, because a lot of times things never take off because they weren't equipped. They didn't have the things. They didn't have the new updated software. They didn't have, what they're promised. They didn't have these things. They got really excited and they weren't helped. They weren't prepared. They weren't equipped. So take that time. Trust me, it doesn't take a lot of time. Take that time to look in the cabinets, look in the office and think, okay, do they have what they need to get started? Once you help them create momentum, guess what? They'll go and they'll restock and they'll get other things. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating when I see people hit that wall, when I see people do great at really filling that well of energy, and then they're not stocked. It's like, don't let a staple stop you. Right? Come on, right? maybe that's a post or something, but like, don't let it. It seems silly, and it kind of is in a sense, because it stops so many people in their momentum just because they're not equipped. They don't have the tools to carry out the vision. So you want to make sure you're filling the energy, that you're stocking them for success in the well of energy, but at the same time, you're stocking them to equip them well, giving them the tools to launch, to get started. That's it. You need to help them, your team as the leader, launch and get started. Now, for those of you, once again, that maybe you don't have a team, what tools do you need? Where do you find yourself getting stuck every time? Maybe it's just you keep running out of memory and you just know this and you have to go get, but you want to just go get it so you don't hit that wall again. Stock. This is a season you want to make sure that you're stocked, because if not, guess what? You can have that good energy, and if you're not equipped to go to the next level, you'll never break through. You keep hitting that wall, and your potential is past that, but you'll keep hitting that because of you didn't restock on your energy, or you didn't restock with the equipment. That's it. So these 2 points right now, stocked for success. This is how you help them launch and get going, or you help yourself as you're doing self-leadership, just to go ahead and get a whole shot. Are you familiar with that? For those of you that race motocross, I grew up racing motocross, and that was a thing. You get the whole shot. It's really when the gates drop, you're the first one out because you're ready. You're the first one at that turn because you're ready. Because not just with the energy level, but you also have the equipment to launch appropriately. That's it for today, guys. That's your daily seed of leadership. I wanna encourage you to stick with these every single day. Stay committed to them. When do you listen to it best? I'm gonna put a poll in this one. So go ahead and listen on Spotify. If you're listening to it on Spotify, I'll put a quick poll. It's a new feature that Spotify has, and I'm curious to know, when do you listen to this podcast? Is it in your morning drive? Is it in your afternoon drive? Is it when you're working out? Is it when you're running errands? Right? We all have different times when we fit in a podcast, and I'm curious to know, when is it for you? When are you investing in your leadership growth? That is important, because that right there, my friend, is you making time for you to be better so you can serve better. The better you become as a leader, the better you and I become and we grow as a leader, is not just for ourselves. Growing as a leader is one of the most selfless things you can do, because the better you become as a leader, everyone around you benefits. Your family, your friends, your community, your workplace, because you're committing to be a better leader. Join us on tomorrow's episode. We're going to wrap this question up. I'll give you the fifth step of how I answer this question: how great leaders end the year strong. This is Paul Keller Mossman signing off for today. I'll see you tomorrow's episode.
Thanks again, Paul Keller. I don't know about all of you, but each episode seems like it was made specifically just for me. If you found value in today's episode, we recommend that you subscribe and leave a review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you're listening in from. That way, you'll never miss an important episode. Thanks again for joining us here at Leader Seeds.